Hi, welcome to my video on the multiplication of two binomials by the distributive property. The distributive property, multiplying two binomials by the distributive property. And distributive means to distribute amongst people or amongst a group. I'm going to give $20, but I'm going to distribute it out amongst four people. Give so much to each. So let's follow the organization that I have here, the patterns to help you explain this. 10, bracket, 2 and 3. So notice the 10 is multiplied by the 2 and the 10 is multiplied by the 3. So there it is. You do little arrows, you'll see it. The 10 is being distributed through here. So I could make that a 20 and a 30 and continue. Or I could have the 10 on the other side because what? Multiplication is commutative. Switch commute means back and forth. So 4 times 7 is the same as 7 times 4. So if I put the 10 on the left side or on the right side, it makes no difference because the 10 is multiplied by the 2 and the 10 is multiplied by the 3. But most times when you have monomial terms and you have a bracket, the monomial is normally written on the left side in math. That's the way most teachers do it. Most books, textbooks explain. Following that, what we have here is that if you take 2 plus 3 and 6 plus 4, if you think about it, the 10 that's right here, we now could change the 10. So I took the 10 and I changed it to 6 plus 4. So if you change the 10 to a 6 plus 4, then that's 2 times 6 plus 4. And that's 3 times 6 plus 4. Even though they're two additions, I can take this one and take this 2 and distribute it into the two of these. So notice, there's the 2 times 10, the 3 times 10. So that's a 10. So that's 2 times both of these, and that's 3 times both of these. We're following this pattern of 10 times 2 and then 10 times 3. Here we go. If I'm looking at this multiplication here, then 9 times 2 and plus 9 times 5. Now I can work that out, but I'm just showing you a pattern. That's 7 distributed into here, 7 times 8, and 7 times 2. And if you worked it out, just to show you, that's a 9 times 7. 7 nines is 63, because if you're working this out in mathematics, you would do the inside of the bracket by PEMDAS and get the 7 and then multiply. But if you move the 9 times the 2 and 9 times the 5, you get an 18 plus 45, and 18 and 45 gives you 63. So you get the same answer, but you're doing the order of operations when you do it this way. We're doing the distributive property when we do it this way. We're doing the distributive property here. We're distributing the 7 through the 8. And distributive only works when you're adding and subtracting. Again, just to remind you, if you had 3 times 4 times 2, that 3 can't distribute it through here. The distributive property is on addition and subtraction only. You can't go 3 times 4 and 3 times 2. That gives you 12 times 6, which is 72. But if you look at it, that's not right, because 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. Because that's a multiplication, the 3 can't distribute it into here. Only when there's a plus or a minus in here that we can distribute it. We can't do it with a multiplication or division. So again, you can't do that. You got to work the first multiplication out and then multiply again. Let's do some examples. Now, again, you would call that a 7 and 10 and multiply to get 70. But we're doing the distributive property. So 4 is being distributed into both of these. 4 times 8 plus 2. And 3 times 8 plus 2. That's the distributed error. The 4 is multiplied by both of these. The 3 is multiplied by both of these. Takes a while. That's a little bracket there. I'll omit it. And then you would continue on to go 4 times 8 and 4 times 2. So now you can see the 4 times 8 and the 4 times 2 works perfect. And the 3 times 8 plus the 3 times 2. So that's perfect. But initially, 4 times both of these. So the same as the 4 times 8 and the 4 times 2 here. So you treat it as 4 times both of these and 3 times both of these. So these two are being distributed through this bracket. And then it's easy, 4 times 8 and 4 times 2. And I can work these out. But I'm not concerned with what's going on now, because we know we got to multiply to get 32, 8, 24, and 6, and add all these up, 30 and 40, that would give us a 70. But if you did it initially, there's a 70 right away. Why would I do all this? Why don't I just say that's a 7, sorry, excuse me, that's a 7 and that's a 10, and say 7 times 10 is 70. Yes, but I'm explaining here. That's the key. So if what I did here, I'm going to use it over here. So let's say this is x times both of these plus 3 times both of these. So notice the x is being distributed through the two of these. The 3 is being distributed to the two of these. Then if you multiply that, you get an x squared plus 4x. 3 times the two of these is 3x. So notice now, when you take the x and distribute it through x plus 4 and the 3 to it, now you're multiplying what? A monomial times a binomial. So x times x and x times 4. And a monomial times a binomial is x times 3 times x and 3 times 4. So that gives us like terms. So notice, over here I could add these first and then multiply, but I can't do it here because they're not like terms. So I have to do the distributive property. 4 times x plus 4, 3 times x plus 4, and then distribute it again. And I get the right answer. Practice. Pause the video and work these out and play back to see if you get the right answer. Here we go. X times x plus 6, negative 1 times x plus 6. Notice the x is multiplied by the two of these. Negative 1 is multiplied by the two of these. What's on the left is distributed to what's in the bracket on the right. And then you multiply both of these. X times x, x squared. X times plus 6, 6x. Notice a negative 1. You could go plus negative if you want. See, it makes no difference. Subtract 1 on plus negative. So there's negative 1 times x, negative x. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. And group like terms, plus 5. Here we go again. The x is being distributed into both of these. X times x minus 7 and plus 5 times x minus 7. So notice the x is being distributed into both of these and then the 5. There it is. Now we multiply again. X times x is x squared. X times negative 7, negative 7x. So we did x times x times negative 7. 5 times x, 5x. 5 times negative 7, negative 35. And add up the like terms, negative 2x. We can only add these two because they're the like terms. Now, we have distributed here. Again, I'm just using distributor. I could make that a 10 and an x plus 4. And the problem will become 10x plus 40 right away. So if I made that a 10 and did that, that's what I would do. That's what I would do if I were doing the math on this. I would do a 10 and then distribute the 10 through the x and the 4. But we're illustrating the property. We're just practicing. So it's 3 times those two. And it's a plus 7 times those two. Okay, so yeah, I can see that now. 3 times x, 3x. 3 times 4, 12. 7 times this binomial is 7 times x, and 7 times 4. Add up the like terms, and I get a 10. Oh, let's do it right. When I say do it right now, follow the pattern. So if you wanted to add these in your head and get a 10x right away, and you want to add those to get a 40 right away, omitting this step, you can omit this step if you know what you're doing. You don't have to write that step down. You can go, that's being added, that's a 10, and that's 10x, and that's being added to get 40. So I can omit that. But at the beginning, when you're practicing your math, to group these terms together and add them up just makes, practice perfect. But when you know what you're doing, then you can take shortcuts. Okay, let's continue. Now we have more examples. Let's practice, practice, practice. Multiply by distributive property. And we have to multiply by distributive property here because these we can't add these because they're not like terms. So the 2x, 2x times x plus 5. The 2x is multiplied by both of these. The plus 3 is multiplied by both of these. And then now we go 2x times x, 2x squared. 2x times 5, 10x. 3 times x, 3x. 3 times 5, 15. And now the like terms are already together, so we get 2x squared plus 13x plus 15. Again, the 2x is multiplied by x, and the 2x is multiplied by the 5. The 3 is multiplied by the x. So I'm so used to doing it that I'll just go 2x times x, bang, 2x times 5. But if you do the arrows, you won't get mixed up. And this one is multiplied, so it's a binomial times a binomial, so it's 5x times the 2 of these. And it's a negative 1 times the 2 of them. So 5x times these two, and negative 1 times these two. Done. Now let's multiply 5x by 3x, 15x squared. 5x by negative 2, negative 10x. Negative 1 times 3, negative 3x. And negative 1 times negative 2, 2. Like terms, yep, x squared, negative 13x plus 2. You can only add these two. When I say add, that's negative 10, negative 3. They're subtractions, but really negatives. Done. And let's distribute this one. 3x times 3x minus 2 plus 2 times 3x minus 2. So the 3x is multiplied by both of these, and the 2 is multiplied by both of these. There it is there. And now we do, that's the first step in the distributive. Now we go 3x times 3x, 9x squared. 3x times negative 2, negative 6x. 2x times 3, 6x. 2 times negative 2, negative 4. Add up, and they give you 0. So I don't have to put 0x in. Normally you won't see it. Done. And again, distributive property, here we go. 3a times these two, which is 3a plus 6b. Then it's a negative 4b times these two. So that gives me 3a plus 6b. So the 3a plus 6b is written down here and here. Now we do the monomial times the binomial. So here we go. That's 9a squared. And that's 18ab. Done. Now that's a subtract 4b or negative 4b, whatever you want to say. That's a negative 12. Now, notice negative 12, you could go BA. B times A is BA, but we know that B times A is the same as A times B, because 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So, when you multiply these, that's an AB. So when I multiply, I put, instead of BA, I just put the AB. I put the AB to go along with this one, to keep it in the same order. And multiply here, I get negative 24b squared. Add, like terms. I got a square here, can't add, and that's a 6ab and a minus 20. So the only two terms you can add are these two. So notice that's a BA, which is the same as an AB. XY is the same as a YX. CD is C times D is the same as D times C. So I've got a 3 there and a 3 there. So 3CD is the same as 3DC. So with these, you keep them in the same order. So when you go to add, you won't make a mistake. And distributive property, 6x times 2x minus 3 plus 5 times 2x minus 3. Done. So 6x times these two, 5 times those two. That's a 12x squared when I multiply. And multiply there, I get a negative 18x. 5 times 2x, 10x. And 5 times negative 15. Sorry, 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And your like terms are already grouped. So that's the final answer. You can only add these two because they're x's, like terms. And 7x times 7x plus 3 minus 3 times 7x plus 3. Again, the 7x is multiplied by the two of these, and the negative 3 is multiplied by the two of these. Now we have to do the distributive property here to give you 49x squared. Done. We have to do it here. That's a square. 7x times 3 is 21x. Negative 3 times 7x is negative 21x. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. And 49x squared stays like that because there's no other term to go with it. Positive 21, negative 21 gives you 0. And the 0 is understood to be in between here. We don't write it down. 0x. So there's the answer. And here we go again. Multiplying. Distributive. So that's an AB times these two. B plus B squared. And that's an A, positive A, times B plus B squared. So that's multiplied by those two right here. And the A is multiplied by those two right here. Multiply that out. AB times B is AB squared. AB times B squared, it's an AB cubed. A times B, AB. And A times B squared is AB squared. Notice I put the A's before the B's. Normally I'll put if I got X's and Y's together, X times Y, I'll put the X first and the Y. That's just what we do in math. Just what we get used to. So if I got A's and B's, I'll put the A first and the B. Just something we do. Now, any like terms? AB squared. Yep, there they are there. AB squared and an AB squared. That's an AB cubed, and that's an AB. So the only two terms are the same as AB squared as these two. And that's a 1 plus a 1, so that's a 2AB squared when you add. And you can't add these because they're not alike. And number 4, here we go. Distributive property. 4x times these two. 4x times 5x minus 3y. And then that's that one. And negative 2y times 5x minus 3. Again, the 4x is multiplied by these two. The negative 2y is multiplied by these two. And multiply that out, I get a 4x times 5x is 20x squared. 4x times 3y, negative 12xy. 2y times x, negative 2y times 5x is negative 10. xy, yx, I'll put xy. So that's an xy. If you want to go yx, but then you have to switch them, or they are the like terms. So positive 6y squared when you multiply. So we'll multiply those two to get that one. Multiply those two to get that one. Multiply those two to get this one. Multiply those two to get this one. And do we have like terms? 20x squared? Nope. And they're like terms, negative 12, negative 10, negative 22, y, and 6y squared. So the only two, again, I repeat, a negative 12xy. If you had that, and negative 10yx, xy and yx are the same, so you could have made that a negative 10xy, just to drive that home. xy and yx, when you're multiplying, is the same. That brings us to the end of the distributive property, which is extremely important in math, extremely important. Multiplying with the distributive property, distributing the multiplication through the addition and subtraction. And you can't do the distributive property on multiplication, only distributed through addition and subtraction. If you like the video, click on the like button. If you're not a subscriber, if you want to be one, do so. Click on the notification bell because there's more videos coming your way. If you want to follow my website, if you want to follow my YouTube channel. Write a comment if you wish. I have a website, mathfullyexplained.com, and I got 3 sections on me. Talks about my degrees and teaching experience. Section of video talks about the teaching strategies I'm going to use to help you learn your math. And the section on content has the topics and the number of videos on each topic. And the black font is what's already online, and the red font is what will be underlined in the near future. That's why you click on the notification bell, because there's more videos coming. And if you're starting out in grade 9 and moving up through, or 8, then I'm doing the videos in sequence, going to grade 9, then doing them going to grade 10, then going to grade 11 and grade 12. So follow me. Everything should be great if you practice. Bye-bye.